nice way to relax, especially when it's with a mermaid mug. Hi everybody, it's Nikki here, and today we have a new video, and it's one that I've seen going around a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. But it's something that it's been moving around my head for quite some time, and it is the book challenge. So a lot of people have, been doing book challenges and book videos, and there's a new challenge that's going around, 19 books in 2019. And my good friend Wacky World of Lottie and Laura Bolham have both jumped on and are doing this challenge. I'm sure there are quite a few more. I've probably missed them, haven't watched them as of yet. Laura Bolham and Wacky World of Lottie are the only two that I've discovered recently, but it's enough to get me peaked. So I decided to go through my book collection, which is pretty small at the moment. I used to be, when I was younger, I was known as the girl with her head in a book. That was me. If my head wasn't in a book, I was in my bedroom pretending I was a character in a book. My head was always in the clouds, and I was always at the library, always in my bedroom reading. Yeah, books were my life when I was younger, but I don't know, when I became an adult and I became a mum and I was doing other things, books kind of just got left behind. But now that my daughter's flown the nest, now that it's just me and my husband, who makes an awesome cup of tea, by the way, I thought that I would get back to an old love of mine. So this is my 19 in 2019 book challenge for you. Now, as I say, my book collection is pretty small. So some of the categories I haven't been able to fulfill. But what I thought was, rather than putting it off and putting it off, because I'm just wasting time doing that, I would at least start the book challenge, and then as the year progresses, maybe pick up a couple of books that can complete the categories that I haven't got at the moment. So I thought we would at least get started on it. So the first category is a book that is also a film. Now for this one, I kind of had to tweak it a little bit. So this book isn't actually a film, but it is a Netflix series, and it's quite a popular one, and it is this one. It is 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher, and this is obviously images from the Netflix series. And yeah, so I've kind of gone with a Netflix series rather than a film. So it says, if you're listening, you're too late. And the blurb on the back says, you can't stop the future, you can't rewind the past. The only way to learn the secret is to press play. Clay Jensen doesn't want anything to do with the tapes Hannah Baker made. Hannah died 2 weeks ago. Her secrets should be buried with her. Then Hannah's voice explains that there are 13 reasons why she died, and Clay is one of them. If he listens, he'll learn that he is in some way responsible for her death. All through the night, Clay keeps listening. He follows Hannah's recorded words around his small town, and what he discovers will change his life forever. So that is the first book. Very excited. The second category is a book with a question mark in the title. This is one of those categories I couldn't complete. The third one is a book with love in the title, and again, I couldn't complete that one, so we will have to wait and see. The fourth one is a book featuring a detective. Now, I don't know where I got this, but it's in my collection, and it is The Killing Room by Richard Montanari. So it's like this. It is a suspense thriller, and it says, the thing is, detective, if you believe in God, you've got to believe in the devil. Deepest winter, darkest Philadelphia. A murder shocks the frozen city, the most spectacular homicide in its 300-year-old history. An ex-cop has been lured to the basement of an abandoned chapel, wrapped in barbed wire and kept alive for 10 days. 24 hours after the discovery, detectives Kevin Byrne and Jessica Balzano find another victim in another church, encased in a pristine block of ice, and then a third is forced to swallow stones and suffocates. Someone is transforming the city's cathedrals into killing rooms, someone who is determined to raise hell on earth. So that is that one. Quite a nice big thick one. So as I say, I'm not really a suspense thriller sort of reader. So this will be my first delve into that genre, so it should be fun. The fifth category is a book that has been on your shelf forever. I know this should have been one of the easiest categories to complete, but the next category kind of does complete the being on the shelf forever kind of category. So we'll go on to that. Number 6 is a children's book. This is the oldest book in my collection. I've had this since Rowena, my eldest daughter, who's now 19, since she was a child. So we used to sit and read this together. It is the Snow Spider trilogy by Jenny Nemo. So it is that. And yeah, we used to sit and read this as a bedtime story when I was putting my daughter to bed. So she was at an age where she could read. So she must have been about 9-10 years old when we were doing this. Because yes, I still read to my daughter on nights at that age. It was our sort of mother-daughter time, you know, where we would sit down and we would cuddle on the bed. And she would read a chapter one night and then I would read a chapter the next night, and we just, yeah, we were close. So it is the Snow Spider trilogy, and it says, "Time to find out if you are a magician," said Gwyn's grandmother. "Time to remember your ancestors. Math, Lord of Gwynedd, Gwydion and Gylfethwy." I apologise to all my Welsh subscribers there. I'm sure Lightning Lass's husband can let me know if I said that wrong. On his 9th birthday, Gwyn is given a brooch and told to cast it into the wind. High on the mountainside, Gwyn hurls the brooch into the air and waits. It is only later that Gwyn discovers the wind has sent something back. The Snow Spider. So begins Jenny Nemo's award-winning trilogy, a story of Gwyn's extraordinary battle against evil, of worlds glittering with snow and ice. So that is that one. And as I say, I've had this book since my daughter was about 8, 9, maybe even younger than that. So I've had it 10 years. So it kind of feels a book that has been on your shelf forever and a children's book. So, but I will try and see if I can find another book to like fulfill that category as well. Number 7 is a book that you bought because of the cover. Now I had to kind of change this and tweak it a little bit and change it to a book that I've bought because of the topic. And for that I chose The Hollow Crown. And it's The Wars of the Roses and the Rise of the Tudors by Dan Jones. So that's it. This is an ex-library book. For God's sake, let us sit upon the ground and tell sad stories of the death of kings, how some have been deposed, some slain in war, some haunted by the ghosts they have deposed, some poisoned by their wives, some sleeping killed, all murdered, for within the hollow crown that rounds the mortal temples of a king keeps death his court. And that is apparently a quote by William Shakespeare from the Richard II. It's basically, I bought this book because I'm very much into my history. I love history. And of course, this is the story of the Wars of the Roses and the Rise of the Tudors. And I just love that sort of Tudor historic time period. It was a very, very fascinating time. I read last year the sort of biography of Thomas Cromwell, which was really, really interesting. He was the kingmaker for Henry VIII. So yeah, that was a very interesting read, but a slow trudge. See, for me, I love history. I love reading about history, but somehow these types of books just seem really, really slow going, especially the Thomas Cromwell one, because in periods, in certain parts, it spoke Old English or was written as Old English. So to try and read that and to understand it was really difficult. But yeah, this is the story of the Wars of the Roses. I'm hoping this won't be such a trudge, because the Thomas Cromwell literally took me most of 2018 to finish, and I don't have, if I'm going to read 19 books, I can't be doing that again. So it is quite a thick book, but I'm hoping that I can still get through it pretty quickly. So yeah, that's that one. The 8th category is a book with Christmas in the title. I don't have one of those at the moment. Number 9 is a book about true crime. And so I picked up this one from my collection. It is History's Worst Crimes and the People Who Solve Them. And it's written by Bill Price. So it's only a small book like this. And it says, "There is no crime of which I do not think myself capable." And that is a quote by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. From the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand to the Watergate burglary, the most infamous crimes continue to hold public attention long after they were committed. History's Worst Crimes takes you on a journey through 50 of them, taking in acts of treason, meticulously planned heists, and the most shocking examples of corporate fraud. Step inside the fateful last moments of Mahatma Gandhi, Abraham Lincoln, and Martin Luther King Jr. before their assassination struck. Walk the fog-shrouded streets of Victorian London in pursuit of a notorious serial killer. Follow a group of British men as they plan possibly the most audacious robbery in history, and take a look inside Enron, the largest corporate crime of the 20th century. Some of these cases have been solved, some still await a resolution, and some may remain a mystery forever. All of their stories are recounted here, with fascinating historical context surrounding those involved, from the people who committed the crimes to the individuals charged with bringing the perpetrators to justice. So it's like that. So literally it is just a book of different crimes that were committed. So you have the outlaw Jesse James, the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, Dick Turpin, the highwayman, Elizabeth Bathory, the blood countess, and each one, like here we have the assassination of Julius Caesar. So in each one you've got the assassination of Julius Caesar on the 15th of March 44 BC, the motivation, and then you've got a list of different motivations, and this one is highlighted as an assassination. It says location, the theatre of Pompeii in Rome. The perpetrators, Cassius, Brutus, and a group of about 60 other Roman senators. And the outcome was the civil war and the eventual establishment of the Roman Empire. And it does that for each case. So each case will have the motivation, the location, the date, and things like that. So that's going to be a really interesting book, because I love history and I love like criminal intrigue. That does really interest me. As I say, suspense and crime and thriller books haven't always caught my attention as a genre to read, but real life crimes, they really interest me. So I'm quite looking forward to reading this book. I have kind of dabbled in and out of this book since owning it, but I haven't read through the whole thing, so I will now. So the next category is a classic, and funnily enough, this is one that, okay, I have a classic. I have a Rob Roy, which was a novel written back in the early 1800s, like 1820, something like that. And I have that, but it's a very old book. I bought it because it looked antique. So it's got an old sort of binding on it. It doesn't look like it's been produced relatively lately. You know, it looks like it's about 40, maybe 50 years old. And the pages are yellowed, and yeah, the binding's a little old fashioned, you know. So I'm not sure when that book was produced, but it does look too delicate for me to be like palming through, you know, to read it completely. I bought it because it's an old book and I love books, and I wanted to save it basically because I was worried that if I didn't take it home with me, it would end up in the bin because it's too old and it wouldn't have been sold by the charity shop, and they would have maybe thrown it out to make room for new books or whatever. And I was worried it wasn't going to get a new home, so I took it home with me. But I don't want to be like leafing through it if it's that old. So I do have a classic, but it's not one that I want to be handling too often. So I don't have a book for that category that I'm wanting to read anyway. So I may just pick one of the classics up in the charity shop sometime throughout the year. So category 11, a book with a colour in the title. I don't have one of those. Number 12 is a book with a name in the title, and for that I do have this one. This is the short Second Life of Bree Tanner, an Eclipse novella by Stephanie Meyer. She wrote the Twilight series, and this is kind of like a spin-off from that. So if you know your Twilight movies, you know that Bree Tanner was one of the new vampires that was created in the war against the I've forgotten the name of the family of the main characters. I have a bad memory, guys. I'm sorry. I do know. I have watched the films. I just have such a bad memory. I can't recall names and things. But yeah, so she was created in the war against those. And it says at the back, I watched his body change. He crouched on the roof, one hand gripping the edge. All that strange friendliness disappeared, and he was a hunter. That was something I recognised, something I was comfortable with because I understood it. I turned off my brain. It was time to hunt. I took a deep breath, drawing in the scent of the blood inside the humans below. They weren't the only humans around, but they were the closest. Who you were going to hunt was the kind of decision you had to make before you scented your prey. It was too late now to choose anything. So yeah, it's only a short little book, so it shouldn't be too long for me to complete that one. So that is that one. I have read all 4 of the Twilight series, so, but it was a long time ago, like a long time ago. Number 13, a brand new / second-hand book. Now, I didn't know if that meant a brand new second-hand book, that, you know, a second-hand book that you've just bought, or it could be a brand new book or a second-hand book. So I went with a brand new book. So these books were quite popular last year. They came out. They are like the Disney villains side of the story sort of books. I have got 4 of them. I've got this one, which is the Maleficent one. I've got the Beast one from Beauty and the Beast. I've got the Ursula one. Obviously, that's why I wanted them in the first place. And I have the Evil Queen one. I believe there is another one based on the mother from Tangled, but I haven't been able to acquire that one. So yeah, I need to pick that one up. So this is the Mistress of All Evil, and it says, what of the dark fairy Maleficent? Why does she curse the princess to fall into an eternal sleep? Many tales have tried to explain her motives. Here is one account, pulled from those passed down through the ages. It is a story of love and betrayal, magic and fantasy. It is a tale of the Mistress of All Evil. So yeah, these are pretty quick books to read through because the writings inside is pretty large, so easy readings for me. So yeah, gonna be reading that one. Number 14, a book someone was giving away. Now, again, I've kind of like pushed the boundary on this one. This book wasn't that someone was giving away, but that someone left it on the train, and I found it because I was getting on the train. It is Shattered Icon by Bill Napier. So is that. And it says, Harry Blake appreciates the quiet life. As an antique map dealer in a small English town, he rarely strays from the straight and narrow. But when a local landowner asks him to value a 400-year-old journal and is then brutally murdered, Harry's peace of mind is shattered. What does the dusty journal contain that is a matter of life or death? The trail of the journal leads him into a world of deadly Elizabethan conspiracies and through 1,000 years of religious intrigue back to the blood-soaked Crusades and the secret location of an ancient holy relic. Can Harry and marine historian Zola Khan find the missing piece of a celestial puzzle that is attracting some particularly violent adversaries? At stake are millions of dollars and a terrorist plot to trigger nothing less than total war. So that is that one. And I'm quite intrigued with this one because I have another book that is kind of along the same lines. So I'm going to sort of, yeah, I'm quite looking forward to this. So, yep, there's that one. Itchy nose, itchy nose. Number 15 is a sequel to a book already read. And I am going with this one. It is Shadowhunters City of Ashes. This by Claire Cassandra. This is the second in a box set, as you can see there, number 2, in a box set of the Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. I bought the box set for Christmas 2017. Desperately wanting to read the books because I was in love with the Netflix series, and then never touched them. Never touched them because I was too busy reading Thomas Cromwell all year. So yeah, but yeah, this is going to be the sequel to the next book that I'm going to read, and that is well, let me tell you the other categories first. Number 16, a book written by an actor or actress. I don't have one of those. Number 17 is a book with a one-word title, and I don't have one of those either. As I say, I will pick some more books up throughout the year that will hopefully complete those categories. Number 18 is a book with more than 500 pages. And that is this one. So this is the first book in the Shadowhunters series, The Mortal Instruments. It is The City of Bones, again by Cassandra Clare. And so yeah, so this one is the number 1 in the box set. And as you can see, I've actually already started reading this because I was determined. After Christmas in 2018, I decided, look, I bought this box set last Christmas and I haven't touched it. It's about time I did. So I started reading it, and then I saw, as I say, I saw Wacky World of Lottie and then Laura Bolham doing this challenge, and I thought, you know what? I can do this as well. I've already started reading, so why not give myself the challenge of finishing 19 in 2019? So this will be the first book in the series, and then this one will be the sequel. So they will count. They will count. I didn't read you the back of this one, did I? Well, I'll read you this one because this is the first one, and then this one will make more sense. So the first one, which is City of Bones, says, Clary Frey is seeing things, vampires in Brooklyn and werewolves in Manhattan. Irresistibly drawn to the Shadowhunters, a secret cadre of warriors dedicated to ridding the world of demons, Clary encounters the dark side of New York City and the dangers of forbidden love. So that's the first one in the series. And then the second one, which was City of Ashes, says, haunted by her past, Clary is dragged deeper into New York's terrifying underworld of demons and Shadowhunters. But can she control her feelings for a boy who can never be hers? So those are the 2 books. And then I do have others in that series, but they're not going to be in this sort of book thing. So the final category, number 19, is a book chosen for you by someone else. And this is The Templars, History and Myth from Solomon's Temple to the Freemasons, a guide to Templar history, culture and locations, written by Michael Haag. So that's what it is. And it says, who were the Templars? What was the secret of their wealth and power? What esoteric beliefs did the Templars encounter in the East? Why did the Pope and the King of France act to destroy them? How did the Vatican come to admit their innocence under the present Pope? Is there a genuine Templar legacy in the Freemasons and other secret societies? So, an order of warrior monks found after... I'll start that again. An order of warrior monks founded after the First Crusade to protect pilgrims to Jerusalem. The Templars became one of the wealthiest and most powerful bodies in the medieval world. Yet 2 centuries later, the knights were suddenly arrested and accused of blasphemy, heresy and orgies. Their order was abolished and their leaders burned at the stake. Their dramatic end shocked their contemporaries and has gripped imaginations ever since. This new book is the first history since the Vatican published sensational records of the trial, showing that the Templars were innocent of heresy. It investigates the history, legends and locations associated with the Templars' rise and fall, and it examines the myths surrounding the Knights, the belief that their hand can be seen in everything from the Cathar heresy to Masonic conspiracies, as well as their appearance in popular culture from Indiana Jones to Dan Brown. So that is that one. So a nice mix of like history and crime and fiction in all of those books. So I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 books out of the 19. The categories in which I don't have a book for at this current moment, I will try and throughout the year try and find books that will fill those categories and attempt to read those as well. But as I say, I will be starting off with City of Bones because that is the one I've already started reading. So yeah, I'm quite excited. I generally tend to read when I'm painting my nails. I told that to Wacky World of Lottie yesterday. She was like, what, really? How? Basically what I do is I will paint my nails and then while they're drying I will read my book. And I will read kind of like a couple of pages and then I'll go back and do my second coat and then read the book again. And then I'll do the top coat and then I'll read my book again. So yeah, that's how I generally do read, but I'm going to have to up my game a little to try and get all 19 books done because there's a lot of like thick books here. So, and I paint my nails maybe twice a week. So I'm going to maybe have to start reading a bit in the morning, reading a bit in the evening before bedtime, just upping my game. So yeah, I'm going to start with this one, The City of Bones. I'm already loving it at the moment. As I say, I do love the Shadowhunters Netflix series. So yeah, I will be starting with that one. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you